What's up? Hey, I just got this cold brew from down the street. Finally, near my house, there's a legit coffee shop that opened up that makes real good coffee. It's kind of sometimes rare living in East San Diego. I'm used to downtown living in San Diego where coffee shops are everywhere, every block. But yeah, while drinking this coffee though, I had kind of like this thing that Matt and I have been talking about for a long time internally as a business. You might hear us talk about sometimes on the podcast, but this whole thing of, are you playing the long game or are you playing kind of this short-sighted, short-thinking, get the money kind of game right now with your business or career? Maybe you're successful, maybe you're starting out. Doesn't matter where you're at in business, but are you playing the short game or the long game? And you might feel like you're playing the long game if you feel like you're growing your business, you're raising your prices, you're working with a lot of clients, churning through clients. Maybe you have lower prices, but you can get a lot of clients and you're doing quantity. That's just an example. Some people feel like that is like the path to get to this longer game. But I don't know. Sometimes it's not. I mean, so Matt and I, for a long time, we were playing kind of, it felt like we were playing the long game, but it was more the short game because we were really kind of spread thin. We were doing a lot of things and trying to balance them all at once. And I think all of us as entrepreneurs, especially you in this group, or you watching this video on YouTube or something like that, we feel like we have to experiment with everything. Like we have to figure out, okay, this one thing is going to do it for me, but what is that one thing? So we have to try everything out. And that's a good thing if you already know what your path is and where you're headed. And for a long time, Matt and I, 5+ years, didn't have what that path was. We were doing a lot of good marketing. We were growing our email list. We were making a name for ourselves in the industry and getting a lot of clients. But at the end of the day, it still felt like we didn't make a lot of progress. So I wanted to just make this video asking you, are you playing the long or the short game, the short or long game? It's a big difference. And I will tell you right now, when you start thinking the long term, thinking not only just 5 years out, but 20 years out or 10 years out, that's long. I mean, 5 years is long too, but it goes, like that, of course. So, why? Why do you even want to think of the long game? What's the advantage of trying to just like get the money now, close the deal now, grow the business now? And I'm not saying not closing deals, getting the money, always be selling, all those things that we always hear and say. That's good, obviously. But so the second you start playing the long game and you shift your thinking, because it really starts up here, that's when people start to listen to you more. They start to really connect with you more because you have this, like, where you're headed. And that's the thing. When you decide where you're going, people respect that. And they listen to you. They want to hear your vision and they start connecting more, especially if you're talking to a really successful person and someone who's kind of figured this out. You're talking their language now. Now's the point when they're like, haha, he gets it or she gets it. So they're more willing to listen to you. So at the end of the day, you need someone to listen to you if you ever want to sell or influence someone or be remarkable in their eyes, someone they want to talk about. You got to have that kind of that value that you're bringing to the table, so they need to listen to you. And inherently, more doors are going to open. The more that you connect with folks, the more you just kind of put your vision out there and you're supporting folks, thinking this longer term thing, even if it's just a goal. Just imagine you don't even have an email list, for instance, right now. And you say, yeah, well, I'm growing my list. By the end of the year, I'm going to have 5,000 people on my list. And this is what I'm going to do with them. This is the kind of change in the value I'm going to bring to the world. People will go like, smart move, really smart guy or smart girl, whatever. That's when this whole thing starts to kind of develop more and more. So the more people are listening to you, the more opportunities you'll get just inherently, but you're going to start connecting with higher end people who have more connections, people who have more influence in the space. The second you start kind of showing that you're not needing anything from them, that's when these aha moments come in their eyes because they're connected. So inherently what's going to happen? They're going to refer your name out. For, if you're really good at building sales funnels, for instance, you're gonna be known as the person who's really good at sales funnels, or you're really good at closing, hopping on the phone and selling people, scripting, whatever, training the team. That could be something people talk about. So you'll be known as that person. You're remarkable again. You're getting talked about. Doors are opening. You're going to be top of mind. So then you're going to get referrals. This is exactly how I built my service business back in the day, my animation company. So inherently, with more referrals, what's going to happen? You're going to serve more people. You have the opportunity to then work with more people and sell them. So going back up the chain, this is how Matt and I have grown our network tremendously in the last 9-10 years, is really serving folks from, say, down here, but then knowing like, hey, up they have this tree of connections that spans out endlessly, to be honest. And you never know who's going to be up here in the branches, up in the sky, but it all kind of roots down. It starts down here. And that's when this longer vision thing comes about. And quick example, I'm going to be super fast so this video doesn't go on forever. Example of this was when I was absolutely poor, and this is like, I don't think I've ever told this story, but I was broke as a joke. We were in debt, tens of thousands of dollars of debt, my wife and I, and we were trying to buy a house. And, I was still trying to get my footing in terms of business. And we had an opportunity to work with my neck, for instance, it was very bad. I had a lot of neck issues and I was kind of in pain. So I was like, okay, I need to see a chiropractor. But I was introduced to this one guy who's a chiropractor, and he actually happens to be in internet marketing, and he has a lot of connections in internet marketing. He's a very social guy, he's well connected. But, his pricing was very high, and it definitely was at a point where we couldn't afford it. So we had to put it on credit cards, which inherently was, financially it was a dumb idea. But I knew as a long-term thinking, I'm going to connect with folks inside of this, in this doctor's office, in the chiropractic office, and then figure out, where can I take this money I'm investing in myself. Obviously, I'm going to fix myself because he's a very good chiropractor. But an inherent benefit out of there is I'm going to get connections with folks in an environment that see him. So I'm going to interact with, his connections. A lot of those folks were in internet marketing or marketing in somehow, or a business owner. But I'm also going to become more friends with this guy. I'm going to see him weekly or a couple times a week. And he's inherently going, we're going to have conversations, and he's going to refer me out. Well, what do you know? He referred me out, and still does to this day. And that's how I met some of my future business partners, some very high level people. That's how I met a guy that we share an office with right now, and met a whole bunch of other people. And business opportunities came from those people that I met through him. So now it's like, through that one connection with the chiropractor, who I was paying him, so it wasn't even someone I was trying to get as a client, but I gave him value in terms of I helped him build products. We kind of worked together on this side, and I figured it out, but I knew that there was a bigger play at this. So that's kind of what it boils down to, is knowing what the heck is, what's in the future, what's coming later, where do you want to go? And it might be, like I was saying, it's not just one person they're going to refer you to, but who is that new person that's referred to you going to refer you, and so on. Like, what's happening up here, really up high. So this is when you set yourself up to kind of like play that bigger game. So you're setting yourself up for the future. You're setting yourself up for 10, 20 years and plus. So how do you do this? I'm going to be quick with these how-tos because that was a lot of whys, which I think is almost more important. But the how-tos, I think it first starts, and this is what made the big shift for Matt and I, is knowing your path. So what are you playing this business thing for anyway? What's the point? We're not sitting behind our computers all day for nothing. There's a reason why we do the work we do, why we're spending the time in the groups and the marketing channels and YouTube and buying courses on the EGP letter. There's a reason for all this. There's a reason why we're investing ourselves into these things. And, that goes with your life. It's your business. It's your purpose. All that stuff. You got to really be knowing what that is and stick hard with what the hell that is. Because if you're kind of flimsy, if you're a little kind of wishy-washy with your purpose, no one else is going to direct that. That's on you. And it's unfortunately where a lot of talents go to die. And you can't really, you can consult or support someone for so long, but if they're not in it for themselves, if they don't believe that they're worthy and that they have something to work for, then they're not going to do it. And it's so if that is you, I mean, it's not hopeless at all. You might just have to really meditate and like figure out in a quiet place without distractions, without video screens and people around you, figure out what the hell do you love to do? Like, what do you love? And what do you see yourself still loving to do 10, 20 years later? And if you hate it right now, start making plans to figure out how to get out of it, man. So it's not worth it, and if you have to pay the bills, I get it. Figure out how to cover the bills, cover your nut, but figure out a way out. Find that exit plan. So the second thing, it's kind of like 2 points to the second part here, is to really, so the second you know your purpose, you want to figure out how to shift your thinking from figuring out that you don't really need to get paid right now on the work that you're putting in. So even if it's hours of work, or if you're working on the weekends or in the middle of the night, figure out how it can't be important, or it doesn't have to be the top priority to get paid right now. So if you can get by that whole thing, then you don't have to feel like you're owed anything. So don't feel like you're owed anything. That's kind of part two of part two is don't feel like you're owed anything for the work that you're putting in. And Gonzalo Paternoska, I'm so totally butchering you. Sorry, Gonzalo. I think you're in our groups, and definitely we just had a podcast episode. So if you haven't watched Gonzalo's podcast, I think it's 31-ish, but look up Gonzalo on the Hustle and Flowchart podcast. He said it best. If you're doing what you love, you don't have to worry about getting owed anything. And really, that's what we should all be doing, is doing what we love. So if you can support people and help people by doing what you love, then you don't have to think about getting paid. And, when you do get paid, it's going to be a lot more. And this goes into later on, is kind of I'm skipping one, but number 3 now, I'll call it, is knowing your true worth and knowing your value. So that stems from what's your dollar hourly rate if you charge that way. And even if you don't, how much time are you working now? How much are you making? Or how much do you want to make? And figure out what your value is per hour, because that will kind of give you at least a number of what you're worthy of. And the second you know what you're worthy of, then again, that combined with a purpose, it opens up doors. And then you can present yourself in a way with, a proud chest when you're going into a meeting or on a phone call with someone who's referred you. And maybe you're not even trying to get the business, but you're worth this kind of amount, so you're going to give that value. They're going to understand that you're worth that amount, especially when they want to hire you, and you throw out a number out there, and you're not really too concerned if you get the job or not. And they go, hey, yeah, sure, I'll pay you $10,000 for a day of consulting, no problem. So it's all a mindset thing. That's all it is. That's the big secret. So, and that's the kind of stuff that we get today, and we turn a lot of consulting people down right now because of many reasons, but it stems to this very last thing. So number 4 is keeping focused. So the reason we turn down a lot of consulting now, and why we don't take on new clients for our agency or anything like that, we don't even have an agency anymore. It's all education based with the letter, podcast, masterclass, all the products, is that we are absolutely focused on our purpose and on what we're working on every single day. So we know, Matt and I, as a business, Evergreen Profits, our biggest core thing is working on the EGP letter. That is where we deliver our best value. It's what we love to do. We love to write, and we love to talk to a bunch of people. But it also gives us the opportunity to be very personal, because we interact personally with these folks on live calls and in the groups and on chats, all that stuff. So that's thing number 1 of our thing, and we can scale that, which is great because it's growing, and then we can serve more people. The second thing is we are very focused on generating a lot of profit and revenue with promoting affiliate products. Excuse me. We know that we are really good at driving traffic and doing content marketing. So we know if we can find an affiliate product that we can get behind and that we love and that we can really support as if it were our own product, then we can make a big impact. We're not doing a one-off promotion, sending an email and then saying good luck to that product. No, we have a whole phased approach that we'll talk about soon, but that's what we really get behind. So if we can focus on these two things, we put the blinders on everything. So when a consulting opportunity comes, or a client pops up, or a previous client maybe, saying, hey, I know you guys are really good at content marketing, and this is a true example right now. I will pay you $10,000 per month to run my marketing and content and all that stuff. And we've literally turned people down just this month alone in doing a project like that. And the whole thing is, we knew that it was going to take our focus off of those two things that we're working on, the letter and affiliate marketing. And once we figured out that focus thing, obviously where we're going, what our worth is, all that stuff, focus was the key thing. So that's it. I'm out of breath. I'm getting really hot. I need more cold brew, I think. But marinate on that idea and figure out, do you want to play that short game and kind of do a zigzagged approach? Or do you want to actually focus and think long term? You'll still be zigzagging because, you're going to be meeting new people and doing things. But know what your core is, what your focus is, and what you stand for before, trying to say yes to everything. Say no to more things, but in saying no, make sure you're saying yes to what your focus is, and keep those blinders on and keep rocking, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.